Hello, welcome to Star Child Links. This is a video on artists, creative people of all kinds, and depression, boredom, the void. That's what I like to call it, the void. So, the reason why I like to call it the void is because it gives a kind of fuller perspective to what's going on. And while I'm doing this, I am carving out my second rune. The first one's done. The first one turned out to be birch for clearing and new beginnings. And I don't know what the second one's going to be, but I'll find out. Okay, so void, right? The reason why I call it the void is because, yeah, it gives a fuller perspective. And what I've found is that artists have an intimate relationship with the void, and that's a beautiful thing. Yes, it can mean that you'll be going through a lot of depression. Yes, it means that you'll have a lot of boredom. Yes, it means that you'll be going through this phase where you keep trying to fill this void inside of you, but it never seems to work, it never seems to happen. You don't seem to get any satisfaction from it. And the reason why I'm talking about this in the perspective of the void is to offer some perspective to all of the artists out there. A little perspective can go a long way, especially when artists have so many problems with dealing with it. They end up beating themselves up, they end up misjudging themselves, letting other people judge them, and so on and so forth. So artists have an intimate relationship with the void. So do mothers. And I'll explain that in a bit. Because the void is where we belong. There was a point in our existence or non-existence where we neither was ourselves, but we wasn't nothing either. There was something in between. And when we were that something, we lived in the void. That was our home. The void is the dark womb of your mother, and it is the dark grave of the earth. It's where you're born and where you die. So when you think of void in such a perspective like that, it makes you respect it. It makes you really step back and look at it, because all right, so let me tell you how I see the process. So a lot of people spend their time they feel this void, they feel the hollowness within them, and they look out here and there to fill that void. Now, going on that consumption spree and literally filling yourself with a lot of images on Instagram, certain people's energies, whatever it is, everybody has something that they consume, something that feels like food to them. And it's perfectly natural for you guys to go after it as long as it's not harming anyone. And the only problem is that people expect it to satiate them, to kind of, they keep expecting, if I do this, I'll feel a little better. No, it doesn't work that way. You do it because you need to do it, because the void in you is telling you, I want more, I want to consume more, I want to fill myself up more. So you do that because you hear that call within you, but you're expecting it to do something better, and you're expecting it to make you feel better, and it's that expectation that sort of needs to go. And when it does, and when you realize that no matter how much you eat, it's not really going to fill you up, then you're kind of at peace. I haven't stopped talking about this yet, so I can already feel like the number of questions that's popping up in everyone's head as they watch this. I'm getting there. So, when you've thought about all of this, right? When you've thought about the void, when you've thought about how it makes you consume things, and when you've thought about how it never seems to end, how it never seems to do anything, I want you to now think about a caterpillar or a mom, a pregnant lady. Now she's always consuming for two, and she is, it's not really, every time she consumes, it's not really something that gives her a lot of satisfaction. What gives her satisfaction is taking care of herself, like loving herself and loving the baby that's growing within her, and thinking that, oh, all this that I'm consuming right now, one day it's going to give me this beautiful baby. And that is a kind of perspective that you don't see a lot of artists having, because they keep thinking, oh, I'm depressed now, oh, I don't know why I'm this way, oh, I keep looking at other people's artwork, when am I ever gonna do something of my own, things like that. They're not looking at it in the way that a mother would. And the way that a mother looks at void is the way that we should learn to be. So that's the kind of perspective I'm trying to impart with the void, with boredom, with depression. Think of it as the space of nothingness, as this non-existent thing that's trying to exist. And while it's trying to exist, it's consuming anything and everything that it can to gain a sort of material, to gain a sort of shape. Because, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one to the other. So whatever you're consuming is being transformed into a living thing, something that has a life of its own. And when there are so many things coming in you to die, okay, and this is on the physical realm with mothers, it's easier on the physical realm in a way, but when it's on an emotional realm with artists, like when you're feeling so much, when you feel so numb, when you're not feeling anything and you want to feel something, it can really mess with your head. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that you need to love yourself throughout the process. Understand first that it's a process, And next is love yourself, because the void needs a lot of love in order to exist as something. Otherwise, it'll just remain that void, and whatever had to exist will sort of get aborted. You know, if that makes sense. Needs a lot of love to exist. So yeah, so that's the first stage of the process, when you're just consuming and you're also taking care of yourself, you're also loving yourself. The second stage is when you just let it be. And this is the stage where, so you've consumed a lot of things, and after a point, you are just not inspired by anything around you that you see. Nothing does it for you. Nothing, you don't even feel that need for consuming anymore. And this is usually the point where most artists go like, oh shit, I'm just dead. I'm dead inside. Don't feel nothing. Don't really want anything. I just don't know what's going on with me. So what is going on with you is that you're at a point, like a crux, where the consuming part of it is done, and what's happening is everything that's consumed is sort of deconstructed into energy, and that energy needs to sort of take form, and that taking form can take a while. It will take as long as it needs to, and you just have to let it be. You just have to be comfortable with it. You just have to sit with the void and be like, yeah, I'm dead inside, but whatever. And I actually felt this very recently, and I channel stuff into drawing. And so when I drew my subtle body, I'll show you. Let me just pause. And we've resumed. So, I was telling you I was feeling a lot of ups and downs. Like, I would feel a bit of lightness, a bit of, I'm satisfied with my day. And then suddenly it would just drop. Suddenly I would just be, what is wrong with me? And usually I know what's happening. Usually I'm very in tune with myself, so I know, okay, certain insecurities are popping up. Oh, I need to heal this within myself. I need to heal that. But this time it wasn't like that. And I was trying to figure out why I'm feeling this way, because I knew I wasn't being an empath and picking up things from other people because I was alone. And then I drew this. Choo 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 choo. Choo choo, the void. Enter the void. I was feeling this right in my chest, and it explains so much. I was like, okay. So the thing is, when it comes time for you to just let it be, the only thing that can help you is watching the stars and the moon at night. Literally. I saw this and I sort of understood that the dark parts here is the void that I was feeling, is the depression that I was feeling. And the light parts here, the sun and sorry, not the sun, the stars and the moon and the planets shining bright. That was like the bits of hope that I was feeling, the bits of contentment that I was feeling. I associate that to the moon phases, contentment of being where you are and understanding that it's a process. And when I saw this, I was thinking, of course, stargazing. I keep telling that to a lot of people, like you need to stargaze in order to feel less lonely and feel okay with being alone. And then I realized artists need to stargaze because they're always creating something, and that realm, void, it doesn't look like a black hole that's eating you up. It looks like this. It looks like the night sky. It looks like a lot of nothing, but also a space where bright things can emerge. Beautiful, bright things. And it's all coming down to here, which this one kind of reminds me of that Japanese lantern kind of thing, which is glowing bright because it's a lantern. And it's like I'm taking all of the bits of light from the void that gets born in the void, taking it here so that it can form, it can be born. And this is where it comes out finally. Yeah. So that is it. And yeah, this is me channeling information. So yeah, that's how I see how the void works. So the second stage is about being. It's about just letting it be. It's about just knowing that it's okay to not want anything, to not desire anything, because at this point you are not, there's nothing more out there in the world that needs to die within you. There is nothing that needs to come into your space to nourish that unborn thing. Now that unborn thing just needs to grow. It just needs to be whatever it's meant to be. And in order for it to be whatever it's meant to be, you need to give it that space. You need to understand that this is going to take time, and soon enough, when the time is right, it'll come out into the world. That starts number 3, birth pains, labor pains. Because after a point, there's this kind of struggle about with it being formed in your head or in your heart, wherever it is, wherever that birthing place is. It being formed there, but it's like your vaginal canal has to really open up to let it out. So you need to expand in a way. If you're writing it, then you need to understand that it's all about your ideas, and you need to open up in order to let it all flow out of there. And opening up with writers means a kind of really it kind of feels like bleeding, I guess, and it kind of feels like you're coming from a really raw place, and there is a need to open up more than you've ever opened up before with all births. And that's what causes the labor pains. It's the thing that's wanting to get out, and it's the struggle between you, which is that is not used to opening up as much as the thing in you wants you to open up. So yeah, that is my take on it. Artists and the void, and the birthing process, the creation process. I hope that helped. And I think since you guys have stayed till the end, I am going to pick a card for you. Choose A or B. Have you chosen? If you've chosen, A has 2 cards. The 3 of Wands, established strength, and 6 of Swords, Lord of earned success. Nice. So what this is telling you is that you're the Lord of established strength. You have done a lot of things. You have gained a lot of experience. You may not have hit that point where you really feel like you've gotten that success that you want, but you've definitely come to a point where you feel strong, you feel able, you feel like you can do things in the world. And the 6 of Swords is a lot of earned success. I think it was upside down just because it's a matter of time until you get there. It kind of symbolizes a bit of a struggle to get there, which is nice, which is what will make you feel like the Lord of earned success, like you've earned it. Has to be a little struggle, has to be a little fight for it. It's like the lion that chases, and part of the chase is what makes it really make a grab for the throat and sink in. Lord of earned success. Okay, so that's done, and let me see what Grandma has to say for all of you guys that picked option A. Grandma says, the time is ripe now. Actually, I wanted to change this a lot. I didn't want it to say the time is ripe now, but I wanted to say that there is there is a ripening of time, a point where whatever it is has become ripe, and it's the perfect time to pluck it. So, and you will know when. So those of you who picked option B, you got upside down the 5 of Pentacles, Lord of material trouble. And another to explain it, 3 of Pentacles, Lord of material work. This is very interesting. Lord of material work, Lord of material trouble. Okay, so off the bat, you guys are afraid about some trouble that you're foreseeing in the future, and you think you're going to be alone in the future. You think that if you take up this thing that you want to do, you're going to be alone. You are no one's going to stand up with you. Yeah, it's just going to be an unnecessary trouble. But what they're saying is that it doesn't have to be that way. 3 of Pentacles is all about working with other people, having a sort of collaboration, often with 2 other people, but it's not always the case. And a lot of material work. You need to work, and the trouble will seem much less troublesome. So let us see what Grandma has to say about it. And she says, stay active. Okay, so you guys need to exercise. You guys should not stay in one place for a long amount of time. I mean, like, one place as in, don't keep your ass attached to the couch for more than 30 minutes. Walk around, stretch, exercise. It doesn't matter what you do. Just be active. Keep the body moving. Dance. Anyway, so that's it for now. We are at 25 minutes actually. It's almost 25. I will stop this when it is exactly 25. Bye bye.